All right. So again, welcome to Attracting and Engaging. You guys can all see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Welcome to Attracting and Engaging the next generation of home buyers. Our goal today is to share some insights and data on the expectations of the next phase of first-time home buyers and what has changed. My hope is you will apply this information to help you grow your business and close more transactions. I mean, who's not open to growing their business and closing more transactions, right? That's what we're talking about. So I think everybody here knows me. Susanna, we just got connected, but I've been doing this for 17 years now, since 2005. And my guiding principle has always been to treat others like I'd like to be treated. And with that guiding principle in mind, I've always focused on education, both for my clients as well as my agent partners. One of the main reasons that I wanted to host this class is because I want to help educate you. My focus as a lender is not just to provide a world-class experience and serve our mutual clients. My job, I believe, as a true lender partner is to help my referral partners grow their business. And if you're a referral partner here already today, thanks for attending. This is a way of me saying thank you for our relationship. If we don't yet work together, perhaps you're open to a possibility. But this today is really just, like I said, one example of what I do for my referral partners to help succeed in the business. So let's talk about the agenda. Here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about who the next gen buyers really are, how to overcome buyer affordability, what next gen buyers really want from agents, the top home amenities next gen buyers crave, must-have digital tools to remain relevant, how to attract, engage, and build trust with next gen buyers. And at the end, I'll do a little summary and recap with some additional special invite and kind of fun from there. So first, who are the next gen buyers and who exactly, what does that translate to? We talked about a little earlier, but next gen, which refers to millennials born between 1981 and 1996, and then the Gen Z born between 1996 and 2010, account for 1 out of every 3 home purchases. The oldest now 42, the youngest now 24. Again, they don't count anybody below 24, although I did see some from the NAR statistics where they throw 22-year-olds, so there's some conflicting data there. That is confusing. I will also mention too, some of the statistics that I pulled here, they total up to over 100%. Not sure what that's all about with NAR, but I'm just quoting statistics from the powers that be here. So next gen home buyers are the largest segment of the market and the most diverse generation in US history. According to the new National Association of Realtors, home buyers under the age of 40 make up 37% of home purchases. So the National Association of Realtors publishes its research data in its annual homebuyer and sellers generational report. I do have a copy of the report. If you guys want it, just let me know, email me or reach out to me. I can send you guys a copy. I'll also include it with the court recording as well. So NAR began tracking the home buying habits of millennial generations in 2 separate groups. Like I mentioned, you got 24 to 32 on the younger side, and on the older side, 33 to 42. The younger millennials make up 18% of all home buyers. They also accounted for 6% of sellers. 81% of younger millennials are first-time buyers, and 21% of younger millennials or buyers are not married. 65% of the younger ones, I'm gonna say millennials a lot, so I'm already getting sick of saying it, but found the home they purchased online. Good news is 92% use an agent to represent them on their home purchase. And the 15% younger millennials already owned a home, which means there is some, sell-buy side transactions there for you, kind of double dip a little bit too. On the older millennial side, buyers aged 33 to 42 years made up the largest share of home buyers by generation at 25% of all home buyers. They also accounted for 19% of sellers, and 48% of older millennials are first-time buyers. So pushing back, I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but the average first-time home buyer age went from 33 to 36 during COVID. Pushed back that timeline quite. 3 years is a lot to think about there. Older millennials had the highest share of married couples at 64%, and also the highest share of households with children at 61%. 60% of older millennials found that the home they purchased online. Good news is, in that group, 88% used an agent to represent them on their home purchase. And last, 41% of older millennials already own a home, which means many of them are sellers also. So I know it's a lot of statistics to throw at you, but the more you understand kind of the demographics and the groups here and the numbers, it will help this, future slides and what we're talking about here make a little more sense. So now let's talk about what the next gen is changing in terms of housing, what their expectations are. So next gen buyers are driving change in housing more than any other generation. Number one, they're willing to shop for over a year to find an acceptable home. I was pretty floored to hear that. That's a long sales cycle. What's that?
Just laughing.
Isn't that crazy?
Over a year.
Yeah, it's a whole year. And I told somebody that yesterday that I was with, and she's like, really? And she's like, what does that mean for us? I go, well, I'll tell you one thing. My follow-ups typically as promises to my referral partners is I'm going to follow up 48 hours to 72 hours after the initial, email response, trying to get a call scheduled. I'm pushing that back to a week and a half. Why? People are just going slower, and you don't want to, once you touch somebody 2-3 times, you start becoming a pest. So, we have to adjust that stuff, and we'll talk about this in a little bit here. You really have to figure out your kind of your data suite, if you will, or information suite to drip on someone and provide pertinent and relevant information over a long period of time. And that's where it kind of comes to whether it's videos talking about something or documentation, infographics, et cetera. We'll talk about that a little bit here. That's what they're looking for. And if they're getting it from you versus getting online, that's where you build that trust and that and that rapport. Thanks for joining, Will. How you doing? Number 2, they want both modern home technology and a location that fits their lifestyle. They are big fans of smart home concepts and smart home products like Amazon Alexa and high-speed internet and Wi-Fi. And number 3, they expect a digital buying experience. Having grown up in a digital environment, millennials don't want to spend days touring homes in person. Instead, they expect to shop for homes the same way they shop for everything else, online. 99% of millennials start their home search online, and 58% found their current home on a mobile device. Again, all kind of shifting the way we do things here. So what are the primary reasons for the next gen buying a home? We've got some more statistics here. So the number one motivating factor for purchasing a home and owning a home is, number one motivating factor for purchasing a home is owning a home of their own. You could ask them, what about being a homeowner is important to you? For the older millennials, it's also the need for larger home and living space, meaning they've already bought a home and now need something larger for their growing family. Again, good to know when you're showcasing properties, right? So here we got 45% that bought because it was the right time to buy, and 20% because of financing option, rates, and affordability. Now, I know affordability is an issue right now. We're going to talk about that in a little bit here. But again, this is good information to know when you're showcasing properties. So here we've got 37% of older millennials that are buying homes to take care of aging parents. Would these buyers be looking for certain amenities in a home or neighborhood? Obviously, I would think so. And this could be a question you ask. Would you have any need for caretaking of parents or relatives in the future? They might not be thinking about that, but if you're one step ahead of them, again, you're building trust, you're one step ahead of them as a professional, and you're giving them what they're looking for, even though they might not think that they're looking for it at that particular moment. So number one challenge for first-time home buyers is affordability. Would you guys agree with that, with these higher interest rates? Got some head nods. But there are ways that we can help them overcome affordability issues. So buyers who finance in both age groups, so both the younger and older, almost 100% of them finance their home for a purchase. So your lender or the lender that they're considering is critical to the transaction, right? Everybody agree? I just talked to an agent 2 days ago, and it's someone I've known for a handful of years, and he's like, yeah, I wish we could work together more in the last 6 months or so. Everybody I've been talking to is working with Chase. And I said, well, how's that been going? He goes, it's been horrible. I said, has the client had a good experience? And I hate to name a name, but this is literally a conversation I had 2 days ago. And I said, how's that been going for the client? He's like, no, not great. They're not super happy about it. I said, do you think you're going to get more referrals or less referrals from those same clients because they had a horrible experience with Chase? Do you think that has any reflection on you as an agent? He goes, you're probably right. I probably won't get as many referrals because they didn't think they had a great experience, and they're not going to relate what's going on with the Chase situation compared to the agent. So I've been saying that for a long time. I think, Dominic, when me and you talked about a year ago, I said, when you get your lender team together, your team together with your lender and your attorney, et cetera, it speaks volumes to people that you're looking out for their best interest, because there are many of us involved in the transaction, and they only remember how they feel. They don't remember the details of that actual experience, just how they feel in that sense. So talk about education now. So the first place to start in overcoming affordability issue is, again, education. Next gen buyers are misinformed about what it takes to finance and purchase a home. This is where you and your lender partner can collaborate to help educate your mutual clients. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and mute you just because we're getting a lot of background noise on your end. You can unmute if you want to jump in. So LendingTree surveys revealed that 34% of consumers believe that you need 20% down payment to purchase a home. Last year, almost 2 million buyers were first-time buyers. So 34% is a significant percentage of people who need better education on buying a home. You guys agree? 43% of people believe that purchasing a home requires a W-2 job and great credit. As we all know, not the case. 40% of first-time buyers said qualifying for a mortgage is one of the biggest fears related to home buying. So some key takeaways here. You got to be the guide. You have to help people along their journey and educate them. You have to post relevant content to blogs, social media, videos that help to demystify the various phases of the home buying and mortgage process. And again, team up with your lender. This isn't a shameless plug here. You really have to have a good team involved. And the educational side of things, you can only educate so much on the mortgage side. You can only educate so much on the real estate side. I'm not going to be able to speak real estate agent, and you guys can't speak mortgage as well as each other. That's why you've got to have good people in place to be able to basically bridge the gap. So if almost 100% of first-time buyers finance their home and 40% of them consider qualifying for a mortgage among their biggest fears, would it make sense to partner with your lender to deliver a better client experience and leverage financing to overcome affordability? You and your mortgage advisor have a unique opportunity to connect with NextGen buyers through co-created content and a collaborative partnership. Let's call it a quote unquote home buying team. Does that make sense to everybody? So the number one source more than any other age group for NextGen buyers to choose a lender is their agent. Next, it's friends and family, their bank, and an online search. They feel less comfortable reaching out to personal networks or the internet to choose their lender. They have trust issues. No, seriously, they really do from what we talked about. They went through the Great Recession. They went through the pandemic. They're not really on the trusting side right now. And they're leaning on you as a real estate professional to help guide them and assemble the team of people and resources needed to buy their first home. Is all making sense? So if you're not partnering with your lender to create a home buying team to assist with the education process, helping them feel more confident, you're really missing the mark because they're looking to you to provide that. So now who's got listings that are sitting? Anybody have listings that have been on the market for a while? Are you proposing price reductions, or what do you guys think that's going on in that regard? You want to jump in? No? All right, so who's familiar with another solution to price reductions that also significantly reduces a buyer's monthly payment? I'm guessing at this point you've all heard of the seller buy down strategy or rate buy down, but who really understands it and using it to capture buyers? Anybody? Success stories? No? All right, so here's an example of a situation where the current list price is $500,000. You'll see that in the first column on the left. And we have a purchase price, again, of $500,000, the 5% down payment at an interest rate of 6.375 with a principal and interest payment of $2,963. So been sitting for a little bit. Seller's like, hey, we need to sell this property. Option one here in column 2 is a price reduction of $10,000. Rate's the same, and the monthly payment goes down by about $54. Cost of the seller is the $10,000 with the price reduction. In the third column, we leave the purchase price at $500,000, but now the seller and you market and advertise a $10,000 seller credit instead of that price reduction. So the buyer can then use that $10,000 to do a permanent rate buy down, bringing the rate from 6.375 down to 5.75. This results in a monthly payment savings of $191. Now, in the far right column, this is where the magic happens. With the same $10,000 seller credit, the buyer does a 2-year temporary rate buy down that brings the buyer's rate from 6.375 all the way down to 4.375 for the first year, reducing their payment by $591. Obviously a big number, much bigger than the 191 at the 5.75% with the permanent buy down. Now, remember, what makes the temporary buy down even more attractive right now is that experts are predicting rates to be in the low 5s by the end of 2023. So refinancing into a lower fixed rate is very likely. Also, the biggest difference between the permanent buy down and the temporary buy down is with the temporary, any money that's left over at the time of refinance goes back to the buyer. Does that make sense, everybody? Big difference there. Permanent buy down, money goes out the window. The day you close, it's already been spent. Temporary buy down, it's used over a 2-year period. Whatever's left at the time of refinancing goes back to the buyer, so they don't lose a penny and they can take full advantage of it. So if you'd like to learn more about the seller buy down strategy and or talk about ways to incorporate it with your listings, I'm going to provide a link at the end here to my calendar. We can definitely have a chat from there. I'll make it nice and simple for you. So what do next gen buyers really want from you as real estate agents? They want the top, and this is a poll here that NAR did. The top benefits they receive from working with agents is to help understand the process. They want help understanding the process. And for example, do you have a first-time buyer roadmap, something that kind of walks them through where this is all going? I know we can all talk about where this is supposed to go from a buyer standpoint, but if they don't get a chance to talk to you and or aren't listening really well, which, let's be honest, we're all not great listeners nowadays. You need to have something you can give them and they can revert back to it throughout the process to stay informed and ultimately trust that you're giving that them. So a documented process infographic to content series that guides first-time homebuyers on their journey is a must moving forward. If you don't have one, I'm happy to help kind of craft one with you. But a lot of your brokerages probably have something you can drop in there too, as well. But here's an example of an actual free downloadable guide, a great way to engage prospects, add value, and build your audience. On the social media side, you could do a series of Instagram carousel posts, so that educate and inform. So those that don't know, that just means you're doing, 1, 2, 3 slides in your post. That's what the carousel post means. Nothing crafty about it. Just literally 3 slides around the same thing. So again, think about the content that helps people guide people along, their journey. So you got how to avoid the most common mistakes home buyers make, underestimating renovation costs, working with the wrong people. That each slide will probably resonate with somebody differently, but they're all there for, for everybody. You guys all with me on this? And now we got the additional benefits of working with an agent. So 58% said that the benefit of working with an agent was to point out unnoticed property features or faults. This speaks to buyer fears. 49% said to provide a better list of service providers, i.e. your lender, your repairs, for repairs like a contractor, landscaper, etc. Does everybody have an approved vendor list ready to go for their clients? That's also a must too. Your managing broker / brokerage should have told you that from day one and given you probably theirs. And then you want to definitely fill that in with your own personal contacts. It does help for business. The more you refer your vendors, the more they might refer you clients. It's all a relationship thing, not just from a client standpoint, but also from a vendor standpoint too. And then last but not least, here we got 46% feel that an improved knowledge of search areas was the reason that they worked with an agent. So you're the local agent, right? The assumption is you know a lot about the local area. First-time buyers are looking to tap into your knowledge of the area where they're looking, as well as suggest some potential alternatives. This all makes sense, everybody? Got a thumbs up. Thank you, Betsy. So we've got the importance of communication, and that's what NextGen really wants from their agents. They want communication, like everybody. The 2 pillars of my business are education and communication, both on the client side, but also on the agent side. That's what's brought me through these 17 years, through the hard times and the good times. But that's what the Gen Zers and millennials want. They want personal calls, sharing updates and activity related to search, financing, negotiations, and purchase. They want alerts to any new listings or price changes. They prefer that you use text when sharing property information. And actually, believe it or not, the statistics show that email is preferred versus text for important needs or requests, in addition to calls. And they want a mobile-friendly website for easy navigation, sharing, and communicating. So for each of you individually here, score yourself in each of these areas for improvement. Better yet, ask your first-time buyer how they prefer to communicate and adjust to their preferences. It's something I ask every single client in the intake calls. How do you prefer that we talk to you? It doesn't always work out to their liking, depending on their preference, because they do change. But it's always good to ask to try and make be conscious of those. So let's look at the top home amenities that the next gen buyers crave. For next gen, particularly those who do have children, it's all about location. Spacious yet affordable homes, typically in the suburbs, things that will benefit their young families, including pets like parks, jogging trails, highly rated schools. Now, there are some outliers to the statistics. Again, this is the National Association of Realtors. So with cities like Chicago, where those that can't afford to live in their preferred location venture out to other neighborhoods to get some of what they want living in the city, but can still get the space they need for a growing family. Again, something to be conscious of there. So how far are next gen buyers moving from where they currently live? According to NAR, they stayed close by in their purchase, moving only a median of 10 miles from their previous residence. This is useful to know if you're advertising or marketing within a geographic range. You can promote neighborhoods within 10 to 12 miles that may be attractive. You may even suggest something outside of that range if it's more affordable or has better amenities. For you Chicago agents, do you guys all have agent relationships you trust in the suburbs to refer when needed? It's also a must too. You never want to just let them leave it to chance or say, hey, I don't service that area. Nice thing about your side of the business, you guys can get substantial referral fees just for handing somebody off, which is great, which is why I say, trusted and reliable agents to refer business to. So for the factors that are influencing neighborhood choice, we've got, the biggest one is neighborhood quality. More than any other age group, the quality of the neighborhood is 60% of why and where all buyers choose to buy. Convenience to where their job is located makes up 71% for ages 23 to 31. And since COVID and remote working, this could become less of an issue, might be a little bit outdated of a statistic, but it's the most recent data. And with 32 to 41-year-olds, 55% focus on being near friends and family, whereas 40% focused on the quality of the school district. Again, as I said earlier, William, you might have missed it, you were a little late. These statistics, I was looking at them, they don't always add up to 100%. They're pulling from different things, but this is the data. I'm just a reporter. So most millennials and Gen Z grew up with technology, and as adults want a home with smart features like Nest, thermostats, smart locks, home security with video surveillance, automatic lighting. They want to control things like their heating and cooling system and appliances from an app. This may not be possible with older homes, but be sure to highlight any of those features in your listings when possible. Those will be seen as more attractive. And because so many millennials now work from home, they're looking for a house with room to create an office, a dedicated space where they can take a Zoom meeting and calls, and they want to be able to shut the door to the office at the end of the day and not be reminded of work. And among millennials who have never purchased a home, 42% say that their dog would play a role in which house they bought. That was kind of a crazy one for me, but a home with a great outdoor space is certainly more conducive when there's a pet in the family. Again, preferences may vary, but you may want to ask about pets up front. You guys all have that as part of your kind of buyer presentation or questionnaire a little bit, see if they have any pets, get to know them a little bit. So millennials may be better educated than other generations, but they're also more deeply in debt. When they do attempt to buy a home, they're often faced with tight budgets and not much money left over once a property is purchased. So finding a home that does not need a lot of work is desirable for many next-gen buyers. However, on the flip side, you could find a niche in getting more familiar with renovation loans where buyers can finance upgrade costs into the loan and make an older home their own with any of the smart home features they're looking for. If you guys aren't familiar with renovation loans, I can also talk to you about those. But most recently, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac upped their loan amount to 724. So we're right in the kind of sweet spot, if you will, to buy a house for like $400,000 or $500,000, and you could put $150,000 to $200,000 into it to make it, a much nicer home. It's a lot of money for construction costs. That number, that 724, used to be in the sixes, and the year prior in the fives, where you didn't have a lot of wiggle room where you could buy a home and include renovation / upgrade costs. So the renovation products becoming more available or applicable, I should say, in the Chicagoland market. So something to think about there.
Is that
and
a
also
203K, Mike?
What's that?
Sorry. Are you talking about a 203K?
No, it's called a Fannie Mae Home Style. So 203K is an FHA loan, FHA product. FHA 203K is very limited in Chicago for the reason I mentioned. They're still well below the Fannie Mae loan limit by like more than $200,000. So it's hard to find a home you can buy and include renovation costs on the 203K side. However, FHA has done a much better job of advertising that, which is why 9 out of 10 agents and buyers, every time they think of a renovation loan, like you just did, Betsy, they say it's 203K. It's the same exact product, a little bit different. One's Fannie Mae, one's FHA. And the biggest difference being that loan amount, that's a huge gap now. I'd have to look it up exactly because they literally just came out with the numbers like 3 days ago for FHA and Fannie Mae about 2 weeks ago. That will be in place for January 1st, 2023. But it's at least 200,000 now of a gap. So we know next gen buyers are very tech savvy. So what are the must-have tools for you to remain relevant? To start, think about anything that improves efficiency of your process or their process. So the bare minimums are a CRM, gotta have a CRM. And the best CRM that you can get is the one that you use. Doesn't matter what you have, just make sure you use it. And then you gotta have some video, online reviews, Google specifically, more on this in a moment. The reason Google is king, in my opinion, people get Facebook reviews, they get Yelp reviews, people get Zillow reviews. Those are small little ecosystems that don't own the world like Google does. Everybody starts on Google. The statistics are staggering, but it's somewhere between 80 and like 90% of people start their searches on Google. It's pretty scary to think about, but if you're not on Google already, again, I'll talk about this in a second. That's where I would be focusing all of my attention from a review standpoint. Personally, I was on Zillow initially back, this is years and years ago. I built up over 300 5-star reviews on Zillow. Not to brag or anything, I got literally nothing out of it. It was a very small amount of traffic from all those reviews. And I then started focusing on Google. And now I've built those up, and I'm actually getting people that find me on Google that are looking to, best mortgage broker near me, things like that. So more on that to come. Next class is going to be around that. But number 4, you need to be active on social media. This means posting relevant content like we talked about earlier. And then number 5, apps to improve the process or customer experience. So with apps to improve the process, I'm guessing most of you guys are on DocuSign. Does everybody use DocuSign through their brokerage in some capacity? Nobody's having people sign by hand. So if you aren't using DocuSign, make sure that you modernize how you complete transactions with a customizable platform of applications that simplify the end-to-end contract experience. For those that don't know, as an NAR member, if you're a member, you do get a 20% discount on the DocuSign cost. But again, most of your brokerages probably already pay for it and make you use it because it's the way to do things. So if you want a more personalized and scalable texting solution, Textedly is a good option. You can upload your contact list, segment and send custom messages based on preferences like listing price, bed and bath count, areas, specific property listings. It does create a far more personal touch, and you can launch text campaigns straight from your own phone. And want a simple way to share your contact information from your mobile device? Consider a digital business card like the one offered by BizCarding. And again, these are all going to be sent to you guys, these slides. If you want to go back, and I know you're taking some notes, but if you want to go back and rehash them, you can. And obviously I'm here to always talk about them too. So 3 clicks with this guy we're looking at. It's really impressive and easy to share your information. You can edit, update your information anytime, and imagine your prospects, clients, and leads have instant access to all your destinations with one tap of their smartphone. So things like tap to call, tap to email, tap to visit your social profiles, tap to share. I highly suggest checking it out. There's a bunch of other ones out there too, but just getting something in place to easily share your information. Giving people a business card is an old way of doing things. And personally, you're putting all the onus on them to reach out to you with the business card that they might put in their pocket. If they even look at it again, with it being on their phone, you can also track them sometimes with these various apps and technologies. It's just a much more modern way of doing it. And if you give a business card to someone that's 25 years old, no offense, Dominic, they're probably going to do what with it, right? Toss it. So
yeah, at the best case scenario,
best case scenario,
use it for something else.
Exactly, maybe a bookmark that they never read the book. So Spacio it provides an easy to use solution for digitally gathering visitor details to open houses. With Spacio, you can finally deliver the complete solution to advertise your open houses, capture leads during, and automatically follow up after, all within a single platform. The automated lead follow-up system ensures that every prospect receives appropriate communications after the open house, and they integrate with most CRMs. One of my favorite features is the seller reports that keep your clients in the loop and after the open house is completed. Remember, most people don't buy from the open house that they meet their agent. So if you were someone on your team is showing property, consider a mobile-friendly showing scheduler. No more no more back and forth emails or missed calls. Just share the app and allow people to see and schedule available showings with a tap on their smartphone. So you got Insta showings, local showings, or you got showing time. In case you didn't know, showing time was just purchased by Zillow. And if you have a problem with that, you consider the other two that, I'm not sure what Zillow's going to do with it, but I think it's common knowledge nowadays that Zillow is trying to push both real estate agents and mortgage advisors out of the business. That's kind of their business model. Even though we pay them, we put them where they're at. They don't care about us. They're trying to automate everything and take over. For those that don't know, on the mortgage side, Zillow bought a bank about 1.5 years ago, and they're starting to do some mortgages too. It's not a really good process, and they're having some problems with it, but they are trying to kind of cherry pick the leads that they would otherwise give to people like myself or to you guys from a showing standpoint or buyer standpoint. So, okay, so how do you guys like the content so far? Has it been valuable so far? Great, awesome. So let's wrap it up with some ideas on how to attract, engage, and build trust with next-gen buyers. And that's why we're here, right? To grow your business. So this is the attraction phase. Over half of recent next-gen buyers found their real estate agent through a friend or family member, representing the most common source of influence. Other sources include online search, bank recommendations, home buying counseling agencies, and meeting real estate agents at open houses. However, these appear to be much less common method for next-gen buyers to meet and secure their real estate agent. So the key takeaways here: master your database marketing, stay top of mind with your sphere of influence, build your Google reviews, and post content in social media. Next-gen buyers demonstrate a strong preference for video-based platforms compared to text or image-based social media accounts. Almost 60% of next-gen buyers search YouTube to learn about personal finance. Creating informative and relevant video-based content is key to attracting the attention of next-gen buyers. Additionally, an overwhelming majority of next-gen buyers spend on average between 1 and 5 hours on social media daily, demonstrating that social media is still one of the most reliable ways to stay connected to this demographic. So now next is the engagement phase. NextGen home buyers overwhelmingly prefer to rely on email compared to any other format when conducting business and or financial matters. Hey, Dominic, do you feel that that's the case? I was surprised to see that.
Yeah, actually I do, especially with this demographic. I mean, I don't know. I'm personally the one that likes to talk. If it's not face to face, it's over the phone. But I know a lot of my demographic prefers to text, so I'm surprised to see that done so low.
I know. I think so many of us think we've got to go text. And I mean, text is still important. And again, you got to kind of intermittently use text, email, phone, et cetera, depending on the step of the process. So a little saying that I've kind of incorporated over the years is automate the ordinary. So things like scheduling a call, submitting information, try and make that as automated as possible. There's no reason to have somebody go back and forth over 5 emails about what time works best for them, but then humanize the extraordinary. So when you're clear to close, when you're approved for the loan, after closing, make those phone calls. Don't send someone a text that says, hey, congratulations, you're approved. Give them a call, send them a video, message, and personalize things further. So given the complexity of the home buying process, many next-gen buyers may prefer email-based communication like we're talking about that provides a clear paper trail and record of the business conversations. That's what I found too is and even though Gmail garbles up all of our conversations, I still don't understand that. They like to have that all kind of laid out so they can revert back to what was said last week, last month, or with the sales cycle for most of these folks being a year. They're talking. I mean, the clients I'm talking to today, I got introduced to back in March and April that are just starting to get back on kind of the track with, okay, we're looking to buy in 2023, maybe. So about half of home buyers or half the buyers prefer face-to-face meetings. It could also be caused by video call fatigue, like, due to too much Zoom. I think we all had that over the COVID span. So they also like with the face-to-face, the flexibility to conduct business around their schedules if they want to go the Zoom route. Now we're talking about the trust phase. So with the trust phase, this occurs at the beginning stages of your attraction and engagement phase, but you must continue to build trust through the entire process. The currency of trust today is online reviews and recommendations. So how important are reviews and recommendations? 4% said not at all, 10% said slightly important, 23% said moderately important, and then a whopping 41% said very important, with another 22 saying extremely important. So that means that if you take the very important and extremely important, that means 63% think that reviews and recommendations are very important. How you guys doing on your online reviews and testimonials? Everybody asking for reviews after something closes? If I've got some, if you've done nothing so far, which don't worry, a lot of people have done nothing. I'm going to tell you about a class here about Google My Business, and we can talk about that in a second, but I've got some strategies to kind of ramp up those reviews, even if you haven't closed a deal with somebody. That's what I did both for Zillow and Google with my past client database. And that was a way to get, like for Zillow, for example, I went from 0 to 75 reviews in about a 2-week period from just going and reaching out to my old database that I'd closed deals with and saying, hey, I'm trying to build up my online resume. Hope all is well. For the Google one, I used my puppy as some clickbait and said, hey, I got a new puppy. Hope all is well with you. Would you mind sharing your review that you gave on Zillow over on Google? Or, hey, I know we worked together a couple of years ago. Hope all is well. I got a puppy. Here's what's going on with mine. And this is like 7 years ago. But at the time it was, oh my gosh, so cute kind of thing. Yeah, lovely review for you. So again, these are people. These aren't just statistics. These aren't just numbers. We got to relate to people and again, connect with them in some way, shape, or form. So let's summarize and recap what we went over. So it's been a long road.
Sorry,
but
real quick, Mike, on that note, I just want to chime in and kind of say, I think it's also savvy, not only to reach out to those in your sphere that you've successfully helped, but even unsuccessfully. I could pretty much, I guess, attest in my brief time here, which, very minimal things have closed. And particularly on the commercial side of things, which is my focus, I've had a couple of old clients that for one reason or another, I'd been helping them for a few months, and for in particular personal reasons or factors outside of my control, I still reached out and said, hey, I hope I kind of catered to all your needs and was there for you when you needed me, and blah blah blah. And I really appreciate a little testimonial, even though I was unsuccessful in helping them out. So I think that would help as well.
100%. Yeah. As a consolation prize, I asked clients that, like, hey, for example, I had somebody a couple of weeks ago that was already well into working with another lender, and they just wanted, they were getting not cold feet, but they were getting turned off, I should say, by the other lender, and want another quote. And I educated them, went through the whole worksheet email, et cetera. I said, hey, this is the promise that I made to the person that sent you my way, regardless of whether I help you, close this loan for you and make $1 off you. And long story short, they said, hey, we're going to stay with them. Ultimately, they were in a good spot from a rate standpoint, but they just didn't have the education. And I said, as a consolation, you mind sharing, your review of your experience? And they wrote me a whole paragraph on Google about the education and how they had talked to some other lenders and got nothing to the sort. So you can still have some wins there, even though you might not get that client to close with you. And to Dominic, your point, that's perfect. I mean, people want to help people. You got to ask for it though. And one thing that people often say on my side as well, your side is, oh, I text them for a review, or I sent them, I have an automated follow-up email to ask for a review. If I'm on the other side of that and somebody's sending me an email asking for a review about how great my experience is, I'm probably going to be less likely to be like, yeah, I want to go out of my way to write something out there. Or I might give you 5 stars, but no paragraph, which Google doesn't really. Yes, you're getting more reviews, but Google wants to see keywords in that review, things like education, things like, great experience, things like, looked out for my best interest, trust, whatever it might be. They're picking up on that with their bots, and that's what they're delivering to the outside world. So, but again, it's been a long road for NextGen, and thank you for sharing that, Dominic. That's a great point. So NextGen homebuyers have faced, one financial crisis after another. Like I mentioned earlier, they had the Great Recession for some of us older millennials, and I'm 39, so I'm lumped into there, even though I was kind of scratching my head with that. And then the recent COVID-19 pandemic may have further amplified the uncertainty and lack of trust that many NextGen buyers feel about the housing market and those involved in the buying process. Despite the challenges, NextGen buyers are moving forward with home buying and demonstrating a continued sense of resilience and adaptability as they enter the housing market at greater levels year after year. So consider the following recommendations in your efforts to attract and engage with NextGen buyers. Double down on your online reviews with particular emphasis, like I mentioned earlier, on Google. Over half said reviews were very important. Over half said that the reviews were very important to finding a mortgage advisor and real estate agent. So who wants to get found in a local search for a real estate agent near me? Obviously, all of us. Google has 3 ranking factors that affect whether or not you get found in local search. One of those factors is reviews. Would anyone be open-minded to some help in optimizing your Google business profile and growing your online reviews? Betty, give me a head nod. Everybody else is not on video, so I can't see. But awesome. I'll provide a link for our next class that will help with exactly that. Also double down on social media and video content. The majority of NextGen buyers use social media between 1 to 5 hours a day. Don't overlook this channel. And also double down on high tech or high touch versus high tech. You can't automate trust. Like I mentioned earlier, automate the ordinary, humanize the extraordinary, and that does build trust. Use tech when appropriate, but build trust through the entire process. And of course, double down on your database and sphere of influence. What do you think about changing from a database, the mindset of a database, to a people base, right? It's people that are in there. And so the whole point is to communicate with the people, build connections, build engagement, relationships, and trust. So in summary, here's what we covered. We covered who are the NextGen buyers, how to overcome buyer affordability, what NextGen buyers really want from agents, the top home amenities NextGen buyers crave, must-have digital tools to remain relevant, how to attract, engage, and build trust with NextGen buyers. And I want to ask you guys, what is the one big takeaway from today's content that you had? What's the number one thing that you were like, wow, that's something I didn't realize, or I'm going to implement right away? Anybody want to share?
I'd say the stats. I mean, this is to be reckoned with. It's big.
Stats. Anybody else? Dominic, anything from you on your end, since you're on the younger side of this crew?
It kind of just reinforces things. It's just kind of driving home the message with potential buyers or even renters. That's really real hard right now, given, like I said, the climate and inflation, and thus, interest rates everybody's scared off. But I think it's tough to kind of reinforce the notion that real estate remains to be, one of the fail-safe investments, even despite the current climate. So just, kind of picking up on a couple of things that I can incorporate into my pitch as well. So this is all very helpful.
Probably the side, but the big thing right now, and we were talking about this when we were Oh boy, I lost you guys for a minute there. Everybody still here?
Yeah,
Oh.
I've lost a lot of what you've just said.
Yeah, I think
I did too.
my internet went out or something. Here we go.
Oh,
We're back.
okay.
Everybody back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's technology. So that's what I was saying was the message. Earlier we were just kind of rapping and talking to each other about what we're seeing, and I talked to you yesterday that had 5 listings coming on the market at the beginning of the year. Betsy said she's seeing some uptick in things. Right now I think escalate quickly, and if you can get your buyers educated that have been on the fence, whether they're in the late 20s at Dominic's age, or even older, that are like, oh, these rates, what are you going to do? They're so high, I'm not going to buy now. The prices you're going to buy at now compared to what you're going to see in as soon as like 3 or 4 months, maybe 6 months, with multiple offer situations, locking in today's price, today's interest rates, and then refinancing when rates dip is going to be a huge advantage for people that do that versus waiting until April, May, June, when rates get into the high 5s or mid 5s, whatever it might be. So advise your people of that. Again, we can always do that temporary rate buy down to get their rate from something in the 6s to something in the 4s. And the sellers are more than willing to give credits right now. And if they don't use all that money in a 2-year period, which I guarantee they won't, because they'll be refinancing, whatever's left in that buy down kitty goes back to them at the time of refinancing. So they don't lose $1 by doing it. And because it's the seller's money, it makes it even more affordable. So anybody else want to share their one takeaway from today? No? Okay. All right, so next class I'm taking a break. I think, again, what we were talking about earlier, I think most real estate people at this point are starting to focus on family and holidays and fun, given our attendance today. So I do commend you guys all for attending. I know a lot of people are kind of sending it in for the year, but first class of 2023 is going to be January 12th. It's going to be how to set up your Google profile, how to get reviews, how to show up on local search. It's a pretty good one, or a really good one, I think, in my opinion, in terms of where you might be with your business. Even if you have a Google business profile set up, this is a good one to attend so you can figure out maybe what you're doing wrong. Google looks at things very specifically. And I actually found out even like 6 months ago that my Google My Business profile could have been optimized better. I've done that. And no joke, I closed probably 3 or 4 clients in the last 6 months that found me on Google shortly after making the changes that I'm referring to here. So it's good stuff here. Go ahead and pull out your phones and scan the QR code if you guys want to register. Again, January 12th, 10 a.m. Be very similar to this format. And I'm guessing with the new year, we should have a much larger group. So anybody need to grab that still? Everybody good?
Mike, I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that recently you pulled in 5 new people to need mortgages through you. That means they bypassed a broker? They went directly to you?
They found me on Google, yeah. So they found me
Wow.
Now some of them already had an agent. I guess all of them actually had an agent, but I was able to refer a couple agents that were local in that market. They only one of it was 4 people total. One of the 4 actually used my agent. It was actually in my hometown, so I used somebody that I grew up with out in the western suburbs. But yeah, they found me, and one of the guys the agents that attended 2 classes ago, the client that found me online for their mortgage, they found him at an open house, and we connected. We closed the deal on Thursday, and then the following Thursday he attended the business, or the 10 ways to get more listings class that I taught about 2 months ago. So
Yeah. Good. So you're collecting
now,
buyers.
Context around that.
You're collecting buyers and real estate brokers.
Yeah, I mean, and the agent even says, like, you did a great job. And I reached out to him a couple of times during the transaction, and he never called me back, which I get it. No worries. People are busy. But we kind of just were rapping about the whole situation. And I think these clients will definitely refer both of us business. He found him a great house at a price for higher than the purchase price. He was local to the area. It was on like the southwest side of Chicago. So yeah, it worked out well. Now, to add context, and this is stuff that I will talk about in this Google class that I've got up here right now. I've got 220 reviews. So as you get reviews, Google notices that.
Oh
It doesn't
my
matter I
God.
got 220, that helps. But if you get 1 or 2 a month from people that you're talking to, Google wants, what have you done for me lately? That's how they think about everything. That's how tech always works, right? The algorithms, et cetera. It's all, what have you done for me lately? So if I just had 200 reviews and I sat on them and didn't do anything with them, I'm not going to get any traffic from Google. But if I'm continuing to put reviews up there, or people are continuing to post, And then I'm also replying to those Google reviews, which is very important. And you include things like keywords like real estate, home, first time buyer. You incorporate those in your responses. Those are keywords that Google picks up. And then also you have to treat your Google My Business page like it's social media. So you go in there and you add updates, the same thing you post on social media, like a 30-second video about whatever, or a client testimonial, or like yesterday I volunteered and I put the picture of volunteering with the little blurb about the Christmas tree breakthroughs up thanks to this group. Google picks up on that stuff and it brings you back to being front and center. And Google wants to be so super hyper local, I should say. And so you're going to get the people that I'm talking about that found me on Google. They either picked me up from my cell phone number that's tied to Naperville, Illinois. I grew up in Westmont, so right around the western suburbs. And then my office address, which is at 415 LaSalle in Chicago. Those two areas are what helped me, in addition to the reviews, in addition to the updates that I put on there. And that's how people found me and called me. And the one couple was moving from New York City to Chicago, and they were just Googling on and checking things out. And that's how they found me. So to me, Google is king. You want to get all your reviews focused on Google ultimately, but that's the best way to do it personally. But again, I'm teaching a whole class about it January 12th at 10 a.m. And if you haven't started with your Google, don't worry about it. You got to start at some point. But if you do it now versus waiting 6 months or a year, there's a lot of people that don't have a Google My Business profile, and they're not going to have one in a year or two, and you're going to now have a handful of reviews. So click that, hit that QR code. You can register just like with this class, and that'll be the first one for next year. Also, too, again, this is designed to help the masses, to help as many people as I can, educate people. Don't be shy about inviting your friends that are, real estate agents that could take advantage of this too. You can send it to your managing broker, other agents you work with, whatever it might be. The more the merrier. And I actually, last class or 2 classes ago was kind of fun to have 2 people that worked on separate teams that were thinking about joining a team together or starting a team together. And the 3 of us had a call after about 10 ways to get more listings. And they put together a whole little business plan around the content of that class to launch their team into 2023. And they're now doing CMAs for their whole database day by day. And they've already told me they got 3 listings out of it. So there's some good stuff there. You guys should all have the links to the classes that I've taught in the past, but the 10 ways to get more listings is a good one too, to drum up some more business for you. So everybody good on the QR code? I can go to the next slide here. So along the same line, so if anybody on here I'm not working with already, and you're interested in a partnership, I'm looking to partner with a few select agents who value a lender partner versus a lender vendor. What does being a partner mean to me? It starts with creating a world-class referable experience centered around education and treating others like we'd like to be treated. But that's just the beginning. A true partner is someone who helps you win more deals and grow your business. If that's who you're looking for in a lender, let's talk and see if we can have a fit. QR code here will allow you to jump on my calendar. So again, grab your phone, scan the QR code, grab a time on my calendar. If you prefer Zoom, which I personally would, but if you want to just do a phone call, that's fine. Just let me know and I can add the Zoom link. We can discuss the seller buy down strategy, a lender partnership versus a lender vendor. For example, I have an amazing client engagement tool that I offer called HomeBot. And of course, we can also discuss anything else that I can help you with. So anybody have any questions about anything? You all good? All right, guys, I'll send you a copy of the recording via email along with the slide deck. Again, you can use snippets of this, screenshots, whatever you want to call it, for social media. You can get jump started with your social media content. But let me know if you have any questions, if you want to discuss anything further. And as always, have a good holiday and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Mike. Have a happy Christmas.
Thanks, Mike.
You too. Thanks, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Take care, guys.
Merry
Thanks,
Christmas.
Mike.
Thank you.